Okay, so today I'm going to try and go outside and shovel and try and leave. I don't know, the other day when I went with the neighbor, it is back here. Well, I mean, the road, the main highway is plowed, but it's like right in the middle. Like there's ice all over the place. Out here, it's just really bad. So I'm going to try. I don't know if I'll be able to get out, but hopefully I can. At least then you don't feel so, when you're in the city and this kind of stuff happens where you're trapped, you can walk. You could walk to the store. You can walk all over. When we were looking at the bus thing, it was going to be 5 hours to just run to the store and get a couple of things. And a lot of waiting outside for a bus. So I was like, oh, and you got to, the whole time. It's just, oh my gosh, stuff is so stupid. But I've been thinking a lot about different things and thinking, oh, I got to share that because it's the kind of stuff that we need to look at our own behavior and our own reactions. See, we need to get out of this reactionary way that humans have been for so long. We're constantly reacting and triggering each other. And it's all due to our unhealed wounds. It's all due to this pain and suffering that we carry. And we usually try and mask it or hide it or pretend like, hey, we're all okay. Nothing's wrong with us. We're better than you. We're doing better than you, because it's a constant competition because they have this rivalry going between human beings, like this competition over who's the better person. And there is no better or worse. It's just frequency. Just like, could you change stations and say, oh, this one's better or worse? It's all by taste. It's all by individual taste. It doesn't make a difference. And there's so many things you can never, even if you think like, well, I'm ahead of like a lot of the things. I was born ahead of some of the people here, but there are still things to learn. So how could you ever say you're better than other people? No, you're only supposed to share what you know so other people can learn from you, but you have to love yourself and believe in yourself enough to get to that point where you can make yourself vulnerable to the world because of how the world has been for so long. So it's a process to get to that point, but we all need to get to that point that we're not scared of each other. We're not scared someone's going to hurt our fragile feelings. I mean, this whole way that we've been conducting society, like, oh, this might hurt someone. I mean, to say Merry Christmas is going to hurt someone's feelings. I mean, the stuff that they have had us doing, but it's all in the same time, they're creating problems, coming up with the solution, and the solution is always to take away our rights, but they're the ones who are creating the problem. Problems wouldn't occur if they weren't, mastering everything that's going on and manipulating our environment and our reality. And so they are the source of the problems here, which is kind of funny because the source of the solutions is like what you think of source, Christ consciousness, the source of all what we all are when we're all together, that we become, the source of all things. And that is why, it's so important for us to recognize that even when we're separated, so we can recognize like, you're me, I'm you, we're just doing this thing. We're just doing this thing. So the more we can get to that, and when we are around someone to learn from what they, and this is the thing, like in the new spiritual, TikTok version or whatever, that these certain people, which you'll recognize in your life, and that's what I'm telling you, so you can be like, hey, I don't need to listen to that. I got guides guiding me. I don't need to, nobody's here to direct your growth. No one's here to direct your path or anything. And that's why, I always had to step back. Even if me as a mom and me as I would say, a healed human being, and can see with a broader perspective, and I can see like, oh my gosh, what you are creating for yourself is so much harder and so much more work. I hope I'm wrong. I hope but I can see, that there's a lot of lessons ahead of you because you're hiding from them here. You don't want to see them. It's real easy just to blame the person who you think is crazy. And that's another thing too, is, when I think about that, how being around all these people, right? and how they can be like, I mean, how easy it is to convince somebody I'm a liar and I'm abusive. I am probably one of the most gentle people there. I mean, I'm definitely a gentle, nice, giving, caring person. And this person's called me a narcissist. And I am like, I don't think a narcissist can get fucked over this much. I just don't. I think there's the narcissist, there's the giver and the taker. And I know which I am. So, but when people don't see you, and when they have these labels so that they can identify you, and you cease to have value because you are just the racist, you are just the, you know, crazy conspiracy theorist, whatever it is, you know, that they come up with their labels in there. And it's also inside them. They don't have to process and look at things. They definitely don't have to look at changes. Just like, you know, they can sit over there. Let's not look up and see what Joe's doing or anything like that. Nah, let's not do that. But if somebody says that he's doing crazy stuff, let's just attack them. That's the way to go. Because if we attack them, then if we can shut them down and bully them, then it's probably not happening. The world is what we think it is. So that's why this changeover, this transition is bringing so much to the surface in each individual. This arrogance, there's so much about ego, just going crazy in there. And then the controlling, the fear. Oh my gosh, I mean, I know I'm not the only person who had no idea that adults could be this scared about it. I mean, they've all got phobias. They've all got anxiety disorders. They've all got, I mean, it's crazy because their psyche has been so damaged and manipulated, and they're so cut off from their own selves. So, you know, it's just so weird how they can sit there and, like in a conversation, let's say in a conversation, somebody would come up to me and start saying blah, blah, blah about somebody, right? And I will say, well, it's kind of like diffuse it, because then I'll point out like, well, it could be this, it's probably this. I'm getting this from that. I'm not even getting that, because people want to just, you know, focus on their own pain and suffering. And, you know, everybody in the world is out to get them. So, you know, I will try and diffuse a situation and try and get somebody to see someone else's perspective, or at least not carry the pain from what you think they think of you. But when it comes to these other people, it's like, no, they grab onto that bone and chew it, and they'll fucking spit it all over the place. They'll come up with new labels to call you. I mean, they really get into it. They enjoy tearing someone to bits. It's like, and I know it has to do not with the person. I mean, they're tearing me to bits. I mean, it's somebody who doesn't even exist, really. It's someone they created, this being that they created that isn't even there, because they don't see me. They don't even know me. You know, there's just so much hypocrisy and so much arrogance. It's wackadoo, man. And, but these are all things that consciousness needs to purge. You know, we need to purge judgment. We need to purge anger. We need to purge control. We need to purge this codependency of like, if I do this for you, will you like me? You know, and we've got so many relationships built on that. So many relationships are falling apart due to that, because we can't do that for people anymore. Just like for me, like my whole life, part of my path, part of my journey was to be in these relationships where I was what people would consider like abusive relationships. And when I broke free, I was just pushed right out the door. And that's worse. I'm telling you, because then you have to sit there and go like, what is wrong with me? Why didn't I leave? I wanted to leave. Why didn't I leave? Like, what the fuck? You know, that's where you have to go in and question yourself. And I'm telling you, it's horrible. It's horrible. But you have to get down to the dirt inside your every cavern inside of you to clear out the fucking And this is our time. This is our purging time. Like, nobody should be judging anybody. Purge your shit. And when I started releasing the stuff, it made me feel so much better. But when, you know, being in these relationships, what people consider to be abusive, and when I started healing, then I started seeing like, oh wait, I wasn't just being abused. I wasn't just being with abusers. I was playing a part. I was playing a part, and I had every opportunity to learn, however long it was going to take me. Everything was there. The tools were there for me to learn. And the lesson was definitely, you know, you got to love yourself. You got to put yourself first. You can't just go be with somebody because they like you and then try and please them, because you cannot please another person. If they've got an empty vessel, nothing anybody can do is going to please them. You could give them all the money in the world. You could give them all the, you know, the hottest people in the world at their feet, and they're still going to feel empty. I mean, we've seen that with celebrities and stuff. When they started getting the things that they wanted, they started being like, hey, this isn't all it's cracked up to be. I still feel like shit. And a lot of those people, you know, they were driven to find other people to like them so that they could try and figure out how to like themselves. And they needed a lot of this people to, you know, worship them and tell them how great they are. And that's what social media started bringing so much out of that people. And that's where so many other people, well, if I could just get famous, if everybody loved me, if I was a famous person, everybody loved me, I could get whatever I want. But then it still is an empty life, because if you're an empty vessel, because if you haven't learned how to heal yourself and you're carrying around pain and you're looking for others to make you feel good, you're an empty damn vessel. Well, you're not empty. You're full of pain. You're full of, it's toxic energy, because when other people are around you, especially a healed person, and there's somebody around who is just negative, always looking at the worst, always feeling sorry for themselves. Everything's out to get them. Things are so hard. You know, it's draining. It's draining. It's like you can only talk people off the fucking cliff so many times. It's like, that's the resilience that we need to find for ourselves. I've had to talk myself off the cliff. I've definitely reached out to people that I knew would talk me off, because I knew I didn't really want to kill myself, but everything just seemed like, it was definitely the dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul. And then when I was first on my own with my brain injury, I had a lot of other traumatic periods of life where it was a really hard struggle. But on the part of where I was really started going towards my growth and having to face myself and my dark night and stuff, yeah, I was, oh my goodness, I was so suicidal. And everything was just hitting me. It was like I said the other day, you know, Lucy dying during that. And there was just so many. It was like a daily kind of just getting your ass kicked. Just the whole thing of being alone for the first time in that horrible winter, and not being able to drive and go to the store and stuff. And when nobody, your kids, nobody's got time for you. Nobody, you know, you start really thinking about your relationships and stuff. And that was what has been going on for 2020 and 2021. And that's why there's been so many relationships ending. It's because people have started really looking deeper into them. We haven't, there's something on my lip. I am being so blind lately. I cannot see anything. Oh, it's so horrible. But I can drive to the store because, you know, like you can see big things. It's just everything is just blurry, and there's things in front of it. I don't even know how to explain it. It sucks going blind. I'm just hoping that this, I'm just really hopeful of the med beds. Anyways, so, you know, and that's what I think too. We got to stay hopeful. We got to stay focused on what we want. And med beds and technology and, you know, abundance and freedom. You know, we ought to just keep on focusing on it. Don't get in that like, oh, it's never going to be there. We'll never have what we want. We'll never have anything. We'll always be poor. They'll always be in control. You know, we got to get out of that. That's the whiny kind of stuff you got to pull free from. You got to recognize that and pull free. You got to redirect your brain. And it is reprogramming your brain. And it's all like stepping back. And it's not easy to catch yourself all the time. So don't get mad at yourself, like when you get all caught up in whatever that you're trying to break free from. Don't get all like mad at yourself. Just be excited when you do catch it. Maybe you've been doing it 15 minutes and it was something you want to break, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing that again? Ah, I didn't want to do that. Man, celebrate. You just caught yourself. You just stopped it mid-movement. So, you know, don't be down on yourself like, oh my God, I did that again. I'm never going to be better. I'm never going to grow. I'm never going to be a good enough person. Don't do that. That's the kind of stuff we're breaking free from. What you want to do is turn it around and be like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I caught myself. I saw myself doing something and I was able to stop it and control it. I controlled my feelings. I controlled my emotions there for a minute. So get excited and celebrate, you know. Don't get in that other thing of, oh, I'll never get what I want. Oh, life sucks. We've got to move out of that pity party of a world and victimized, you know, and that's why we got to release this whole thing of these oppressors who have been in control. We can't get all caught up in that. You know, there'll be justice. I'm sure there'll be justice. I think there's a lot going on. And then, of course, you know, our media is too busy talking about shit that doesn't matter, like a 99-year-old person dying. So, and then they got to pull out the big guns. We got Michelle's going to talk about how Betty affected her life. It's like, Michael, really, we don't care. We're so sick of your bullshit, fake illusion. Just go away. So just don't watch. You know, we can't control what they're going to keep doing. They're going to keep pushing their freaking, you know, their rocks on us and shit, and pushing their agenda and trying to get us, whip us into shape and fill us with poison and, you know, show who's in control and who's not in control, you know. And then it's all of this stuff is recognizing and pulling into self. Always pull back to self. Go in and think about what it is you want. What do you want from relationships? What is it that you want from your life? What do you want to do for your life with your job, for your time? How do you want to make money? What kind of person do you want to be with long term? And what kind of people do you want to hang out with? That is one thing throughout mine. Like, I've pulled myself in, and to most people I look like, you know, crazy old lady conspiracy theory hermit who just sits in her house, you know. I don't know. I think people think I'm lonely, and I'm not lonely. I'm completely content and happy being by myself. I mean, it gets like tedious when it's going on such a long period of time. Even when someone was in the house, I was mostly alone unless they needed somebody to bitch at or, you know, release their anger. And that is part of the rage system. You just let it build up, build up, build up, build up. And then it's just release. And then, I'm calm again. And then it just starts again. And that's patterns that we want to break. That is going in and looking at myself and seeing like, wait a minute, I'm getting all pissed. Why am I getting pissed? What am I getting so upset about? What is triggering me? Why don't I just go in and look at that? I think about this trigger. I remember back to, when my dad hit me with that cast and humiliated me and made fun of me in front of his friends. You know, that made me feel really shitty. I mean, I remember it, but I don't really feel shitty. I know I felt shitty for a while, but it's just a random one. Everybody's got their own. But so when you think about your things, just dive into them, and you can never go at the surface. Everybody thinks like all you got to do is just, oh, well, I thought about it, and, you know, and then it all is fine now. No, you have to go in deeper to it. There's more to it, most of the things, much more than what you would think. And it always boils down to you and what you think of yourself. And that's why I know so much, everything has to do with this. Releasing this stuff builds up your own self, your own conscious being. And so it's building and structuring yourself to self-identify, to know who and what you are without a system. It is recognizing a system and pulling free from the system. It's a reprogramming. Start looking at things and catching yourself and redirecting your mind and, you know, using affirmations to remind yourself that you're a good person. Remember that you're made of water, and do some music that will, you know, help, you know, calm the waters. And make sure you remember, you know, this is a vessel that needs fuel just like your car, and to properly maintain it and take care of it. All of those kinds of things are what we're moving towards, you know, this centering ourselves, our mind, body, spirit. There should never be any kind of shame in needing to be alone. But in my time where I have become alone, you know, there's people around me. There's people around me who want to be my friend and stuff. I don't find that I need empty relationships. You know, if I don't have something in common with you, you know, just like when I kept saying, you know, that I kept getting told, you're just too much. You're too much. Why don't you just don't change? I'm not telling you to change, but just be a different person, and then you're not too much. And it's like, well, you know, I like myself, and I am not going to be changing so I can fit in with anybody. I'm not going to be changing so I can have this friend or that friend. I'm not going to sit and listen to people talk about stuff I don't agree with. Just like when they're sitting there like, oh, you know, just put this on, comply just because you're supposed to. It's like, well, that's one thing if you're going and complying because out of ignorance you think it's helping you. But if I go and comply when I know it's not helping, it's blocking my already clogged up sinus passages. And so, you know, I can't breathe, friggin' sweating and probably pass out. And then if I'm doing all that and I know it doesn't work, I can still get sick with it, and it's causing me to not be able to breathe, and I'm willing to do all that so I can have some stranger like me. What does that say about me? Like, you would think that people would be proud of their mom to have integrity, but they don't. You know, it's more of a just comply. And that is all coming from the programming. You know, this isn't what's really inside these people. I know some of these people since they were little tiny babies. And this is not what's inside these people. This is the programming. And we've all been programmed, and we're all releasing the programming. And it is like a very sloppy. I was so excited when she started being more spiritual, you know. I was like, oh, cool. Now we can talk about this. Oh, yay. Because nobody ever wants to talk about me. Everything, they'll talk about something and I'll say my side. And they're always like, oh my God, why do you always got to go there? That's all you can ever talk about? It's like, well, it's how I see the world. So I don't, but well, just stop being you. I thought I was here to be me. So, but I was so excited, you know, and she's going to start being spiritual, but then it just turns into more of telling me how I need to be and change. And, you know, now she's the expert on it. And it's like, oh my God, the arrogance and the ego that comes with this conscious programming is just over the top. And I just know after going through the dark soul, facing yourself, those are going to be really hard things to face. These things that these people are building up to this degree is going to be hard, really hard to face your ego and your judgment and this bullying and stuff. And not being able to be on next door. And there's all this stuff going on out here, right? I mean, there's just one disaster after another. And I can't be on there, which is probably good, because I would undoubtedly say the wrong thing. Because as soon as I see the hateful eight start attacking somebody, I've got to go to the rescue. It's not like I think I'm like rescuing somebody, but I'm trying to stand on their side, like Red Rover. I'm on their side, dude. Fuck off. You're not the almighty over here. There's fucking people who think that they are the ones in control because they are following the agenda. They're following what the perpetrators are telling them. And so then they're perpetrating on us. Like, back the fuck off. So on next door, now I bet you that there's just no telling what's going on. I would be curious. You know, are there people coming to the other side? Are there people seeing things? Like, what is the conversation? I don't know. But I do know that You know, everything that is going on is for us. It feels like it's, you know, against us, but it's literally for us. It's for us to bring our own pain and suffering to the surface so we can release it. Because moving into the age of Aquarius, you can't go. I mean, I don't know. I can't just say that and be that you would not be able to at all go, like, because I don't know. I know it's like raising the vibration. We're going into a new vibration. But, you know, when we talk about some of this stuff, we don't know how literal, because everything is not what it seems. And, you know, we're not even in a real thing. We're like in a video game. And some of us came to life in the video game and started being like, hey, wait a minute. What are we doing in here? So, you know, I don't know when this rapture, whatever you want to call this thing that's going to happen. In the Book of One, Ra calls it the harvest. And I think in the Sumerian tablets, I think that's where they call it like a Siddhartha or something. I can't remember the word. You can look it up. But, you know, the whole event is supposed to catapult us into this new, I don't know, place, realm, reality, whatever it is. And we're transitioning. That's why it's so split. Like, some people are doing it, doing the work to get there. And I don't know that there would, you know, to me, in all honesty, and what, you know, if you go read the Book of One and stuff, and everything I've heard from my translation is that you would not be able to go. If you were not at a certain vibration, you would not be able to go. Like, if you were running around and doing shitty things and fucking people over, not working on yourself, and just, you know, just kind of like, what is that? Like during the riots and stuff, when there was people just going in and just started lynching the stores, taking everything, you know, and running out like, oh, it's okay, it's against the corporation or whatever their thing is that they're telling themselves. Going in and doing all of those kinds of things, if you just keep doing all of that stuff, or, you know, dropping pills in girls' drinks when they're not looking, or sneaking in people's rooms when they're not looking, all of the things that people do to screw people over. If you are doing that stuff still and you're not healing and working on yourself and, you know, trying to redeem your, you know, set your wrongs right, then you're not raising your vibration properly. You know, you can't just sit and listen to affirmations and meditations and then run out and go to the bar and slip something in somebody's drink. You know, that's like religion. In the spiritual awakening, it's real. Like, you really have to walk the walk. You really have to get close to God. You really have to connect with Christ consciousness. You really have to follow the laws of God. And that is the world that we can create in the age of Aquarius. But it's us who create it. We are the creators of this place. So there will be a point where if your energy isn't high enough, you won't be able to exist there. I don't know at what point any of that will happen, but you will not be able to exist there. You just will go somewhere else, or you're transitioned to another world or life where you can continue to play out your lessons. But for this transition into the age of Aquarius, this is where you do have to really, you know, you just got to keep thinking about, like, what do I want the world to be like? What kind of world do I want to live in? Do I want to live in a world where we're cheating each other? That we think if nobody's looking that we can fuck each other over? That we're always in competition? Or do we want to live in the world when we can love and appreciate one another and look at each other and just think, hey, that's their life, that's their choice, and let it go and stay focused on ourselves and not let our emotions be triggered and all over the place because of other people's feelings about us? When we can just stay true to ourselves and not have to change ourselves and not feel bad about ourselves. When we can get to that point and all of us are living that way, I mean, energetically, it's peace. That's like heaven on earth. You're not putting out all of this energy that you're trying to manipulate to get something back. You're living free, living for yourself. And, you know, that's what we want to be doing. So, You know, don't, you know, some of the things is just don't, if you find yourself telling people like, oh, do this, do that, do it this way, do it that way, just start catching yourself and be like, why do I need people to do things the way I think that they should be done? Why do I need that person to do it my way? Like, who cares? Let them figure out their own way. Like, I do stuff, you know, I would assume it's nobody's way, because I'm not having anybody teaching me. They're just telling me in my head. And I know my brain is not just formulating thoughts on its own and just creating this, like, it's coming from outside of me. It's tapping into Christ consciousness. You know, you've got all your how-to books right out around you. But, you know, you got to tap in. And you got to trust yourself. And you got to believe in yourself. And you got to believe in the world and the universe. And that all of this is, well, all of this, the world that it is, that we can't see, that's around us, that's real. All of this other stuff is, you know, as fake as that damn Christmas tree. So, anyways, yeah, we'll just see how this day goes. But, you know, just keep that in mind. Always, just everything that's going on right now, just keep bringing it back to self, bringing it back to self. And, you know, don't get caught up in like, oh, it's this roommate. If I got rid of this roommate, my life would be better. If I just move over here, my life will be better. Because you're running from your pain. You know, your pain will catch up with you, because, you know, that's what your soul wants to do. Your soul's here to grow. Your soul's not here to be, you know, worshipped or be rich or whatever, all the things that people are chasing. Your soul's here to grow and to learn. And whatever this life experience that you chose to play it out in is the life experience you chose to play it out in. So enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. You know, it's not the only car you're going to drive for eternity. It is the car that you're taking into the next stage, really. So, and there's a reason for it, you know, and great things are to come, and believe in your own greatness. So I'll leave you with that today. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe later today. No telling. Anything could happen. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.